it's highly significant for our country. The fact that our president has been invited to present a keynote address shows that he's doing something that the world has noticed.
Nigeria hopeful for more foreign direct investment as President Buhari markets Nigeria at the global stage.
The activities of organized and murderous criminals across the country have evolved to become a threat.
Kidnappings and criminalities along federal highways. Inspector General of Police launches Operation Puff Adder.
It is not for us to just put energy around executing it and get NMPs to also release that near monopoly. If you have all the right of ways and you're holding it to yourself, the private sector is not going to go in.
And Nigerian oil chiefs comb the country to break more grounds in the industry. Good evening and welcome to NTA Network News. I am Kenan Emma Abodike. Also reading with me tonight is Jennifer Igwe in Lagos, while Menal Okobasi is in Port Harcourt. President Muhammadu Buhari is in Amman, Jordan, ahead of the World Economic Forum on the Middle East and North Africa, holding at the Dead Sea region. State House correspondent Adamu Samba reports that the president, who is a special invitee of the Jordanian king Abdullah bin al-Hussein, was accorded a befitting reception on arrival.
President Muhammadu Buhari arrived Queen Alia International Airport, Amman, at 11:45 Thursday evening local time. On hand to receive him was a high-powered Jordanian government delegation, as well as the Nigerian ambassador to Jordan. There were also ministers of foreign affairs and interior, the national security advisor, and other senior government officials. While in Jordan, President Buhari is expected to deliver an address at the opening of the World Economic Forum on the Middle East and North Africa on Saturday at the Dead Sea, alongside the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. The president, accompanied by Governor Badaru Abubakar of Jigawa State, will thereafter join other world economic leaders at the plenary session of the event.
I think it's highly significant for our country, the fact that our president has been invited to present a keynote address shows that he's doing something that the world has noticed. The world knows where he met the Nigerian economy and where the economy is now and where he is taking it to. So if he didn't have something to say, something to contribute, they wouldn't have invited him. So the fact that they invited him to present a keynote address at a forum like this is very significant for Nigeria, significant for our president as a person, and then significant for all Nigerians in that we can be very proud of our president.
During the 4-day visit, the Nigerian leader is scheduled to hold bilateral meetings with some world leaders on the sidelines of the Economic Forum.
You know, the president has 3 messages he tells the world. One is, join us to secure Nigeria. 2, help us to work on our economy, to revive it, come and invest in Nigeria. You will get a good return on your investment. And then 3, he will tell them, join us to fight corruption. Let's team up and make corruption anathema, not just in our country, but in all countries of the world.
President Buhari will depart Amman on Sunday for Dubai, United Arab Emirates, to participate in the 9th edition of the annual investment meeting beginning on the 8th of this month. From Amman, Jordan, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Now, the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal in Abuja has granted the prayers of the People's Democratic Movement's presidential candidate, Amenchi Habu, that it should serve the court processes on President Muhammadu Buhari through substituted means. This follows complaints by the PDM that its inability to give the documents to President Buhari is hindering the case. Olabode Arewa reports.
Presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Movement, PDM, Amenchi Habu, told the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal that the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) unlawfully excluded his name and party logo from the ballot sheet during the presidential election held on the 23rd of February 2019. This, is said, denied his supporters the opportunity to vote for him. Counsel to the PDM Aliu Lemu told the tribunal that he had not been able to effect service on the third respondent, who is President Muhammadu Buhari. After considering the grounds of the ex parte motion, the tribunal, headed by Justice Abdul Aboki, directed that the court processes be served on President Buhari through the Abuja office of the All Progressives Congress National Legal Advisor.
As soon as they accept service, the court will assume jurisdiction to hear our petition and deliver judgment.
Meanwhile, the Zamfara State Election Petition Tribunal has commenced sitting in Abuja, where it granted the prayer of the All Progressives Grand Alliance governorship candidate Abdullahi Shinkafi to serve the court processes on the APC governorship candidate Mukhtar Idris through substitute means. In Abuja, Olabo Darewa, NTA News.
To agriculture now, where an 8-man team of Korean rice investors has arrived to Jigawa State to understudy Nigeria's rice production and invest in rice farming as revolutionized by the present administration. Awal Mohammed Kazaure reports from Duse.
Jigawa State is one of the states blessed with abundant farmland conducive for rice farming. With the support of the Buhari administration Rice Revolution project, farmers now produce 8 tons of rice per hectare, with many rice mills established across the state. This development attracted a team of rice investors from South Korea, whose first port of call is Jigawa State. They commended Nigeria for its commitment to food security through agricultural development.
The reason why we have paid a visit to this site for today is to take a field trip to one of your farms to discuss the possible cooperation options to improve rice production.
Governor Muhammad Badaru Abubakar briefed the team on the success story of rice production.
We need to have good agricultural practices to produce paddy at the right price and at the right quantity. So that is why this partnership will help greatly, not only in producing enough paddy, but in producing the paddy competitively.
The investors are expected to visit many rice farms while in the state. From Duse, Awal Muhammad Kazauri, NTA News.
And still talking agriculture, the federal government plans to open up 500,000 hectares of unused arable land under its new program that will allow private sector participation in land clearing for agricultural purposes. Musa Baba Aliyu has the details.
Nigeria is said to have 82 million hectares of arable land, in which only 41% is under cultivation. Research carried out by agriculturists indicates that more investment is needed to open up most of the abandoned land for more agricultural activities.
If you just compare 34 million hectares even under cultivation for tractor, under maximum utilization of 300 to 400 hectares, you can see we need about over 70 to 100,000 tractors in the country.
And the signing of this agreement is expected to address the financial constraints in land clearing.
We are working with Mantrac to open up about 500,000 hectares of farmland nationwide in order to provide, market for our mechanization program.
When you say more jobs, more empowerment, more crops, more food, more industrial activities.
Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Audu Ogbe, appealed to farmers to expand the area under cultivation for more food production and income generation. The initiative is also expected to open up more rural roads in the country. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
The National Emergency Management Agency has continued to effect plans to consolidate on the successes recorded in the 2018 flood intervention. To this end, a 5-day capacity training was organized for federal and state emergency management agency staff by USAID and U.S. Department of Agriculture and Forest Services in preparation for immediate response ahead of any 2019 flood interventions. Eliasu Ali Yakubu tells us more.
The 2018 flood may have recorded adverse effects on human lives and property. The immediate response by NEMA in stemming the effects was commendable by donor agencies and other stakeholders. This was achieved not without deliberate effort by NEMA in building capacities of its staff. This training is to further consolidate on the success and intensify efforts in the 2019 flood intervention.
This training is what is called just in time.
It's a training that would help to enhance and take disaster management in Nigeria to the next level.
Really appreciate. It is very interesting.
Director General of NEMA Mustafa Mehajja said the agency will continue to collaborate with relevant agencies in making 2019 flood intervention more effective.
This is a clear indication of our commitment to disaster response.
Kind of quick foundation that we could help build or help NEMA and SEMA to work on these floods and to try to coordinate more effectively while we're facing this disaster in front of us.
Certificate of participation were presented to the trainees at the end of the program. In Abuja, Ilyasu Aliakubu, NTA News.
Development of the culture industry is imperative in view of numerous social and economic benefits. The House of Representatives Committee on Culture came to this agreement with the National Council for Arts and Culture when its leadership appeared for budget defense. Correspondent Lami Ali was there.
Appreciating the support of the House of Representatives Committee on Culture in ensuring that the National Council for Arts and Culture is adequately funded, the Director General, Otumba Olusegun said Nigeria's rich and diverse culture could be used to generate revenue as culture and tourism are interwoven.
The reason why so many countries are having good IGR, because they remit money back to government for tax, etc. So whatever we remit there is to build a better Nigeria.
He believes that cultural activities should be encouraged to foster unity and development. The committee commended the Council for judicious use of resources as seen from its budget performance in preceding years.
I remember, if you go back to First Tax 77, you will see, you will remember what National Theatre, that edifice, the role it played for us as a people.
Other agencies that appeared before the Culture Committee include Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization and the National Theatre. In another development, the Senate and House of Representatives Committee on Women Affairs, during an interface with the Minister of Women Affairs, urged the ministry to have its impact felt, especially among women.
Without a zonal intervention to your center or your agency, I think you almost have a zero budget.
If we can't defend the budget, the appropriation committee can say, okay, let us take the decision ourselves. And that decision, you never know what they will do.
The committee also directed the National Center for Women Development to adopt and put into use the correct template for presentation of budget performance and proposals. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Still on the National Assembly, the House Committee on Foreign Affairs has advised the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to ensure that posting to missions are given to those who have more years in service to reduce the financial burden on the country. These and recurring projects in the ministry's budget over the years came up as the committee engaged the ministry. National Assembly correspondent Omotola Omojala has details.
That's all Nigerians who are on foreign mission amounting to more than 3 billion naira attracted the committee's attention, advising that calculated posting that ensures fiscal efficiency for the nation should be prioritized.
When are you going to find money to pay Nigerians who have labored, who have served this country on foreign missions? I mean, who are back home? For how long? Are we going to continue to roll it over and over and over?
If we look at the releases of the funds of overhead for last year, there are only 7 months releases. which means automatically what you have planned to do within the budget year, you are likely going to have issues dealing with the remaining part.
We also must, in working together, devise a means where the people who we send out are people who don't have to come back, who are not retiring in 6 months.
The committee showed particular interest in the power challenges of the ministry and the inefficiency of interconnectivity provision across Nigeria's foreign mission to ease communication.
We do not have one mission that is on that interconnectivity thing. That contract has to be scrapped. For over 10 years, we have fed that contract.
The committee also asked that the ministry look into overbloated staffing in foreign missions, among other issues. From the National Assembly, Omotola Omojola, NTA News.
Up ahead, Nigeria Police Force ramps up action against highway crime. Details after the break.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
Chief. Good morning, sir. You're here already?
No, now my spirit day, my body day for house. What kind of question is that? Were you not the one that fixed this meeting for 8 a.m.? You are now coming by 10 a.m. and start asking me jump questions.
But Chief, now, I'm sorry. Don't you also go late for meetings sometimes? You know now, African time.
No more African time. And no more pancaking of face during office hours. At the end of the day, we will lose valuable time. We will not make progress. If we want to move this nation forward, we must treat business as business and respect time. Change begins with me.
Thank you, sir. I am sorry. Can we go for the meeting now, Chief?
Better.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
Welcome back. To stem the rising tide of kidnapping, armed banditry, and highly organized crime across the country, the Nigeria Police Force, in collaboration with other security agencies, have inaugurated Operation Puff Adder as a means to putting an end to these crimes. The Acting Inspector General of Police, Adamu Mohammed, launched the operation along Abuja-Kaduna Highway, vowing that the security apparatus of the country will not rest until the criminal elements are neutralized. Chimobi Walter Naji now reports.
As a result of continuous armed robbery and kidnapping activities along the Abuja-Kaduna Highway, despite various security interventions on the road, the Acting Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, said the Operation Puff Adder is designed, among other things, to secure lives and property of road users along the highway and ensure the return of peace for travelers along the roads. The Acting Inspector General of Police said the launch, which is the first phase of a nationwide operation, will start with Kaduna, Katsina, Niger, Kogi and Zamfara states.
Unfortunately, The activities of organized and moderate criminals across the country have evolved to become a threat, not only to these values, but to our national internal security. And to commence the operation Bob Ada, which is a well thought out and major operation that is aimed at redominating and reclaiming the public space.
One of the community leaders in Qatari community, Gambo Giwa Gambo, while applauding the initiative, further appealed for improved operational logistics for the divisional police stations within the zone.
These operative people, they should operate, as one of the policemen said, do good to the good ones and bad to the bad ones.
Operation Puff Ada is one of the several efforts deployed by the Nigerian police in line with President Muhammadu Buhari's directive to re-evaluate and in place new operational strategies to stop criminality in the country. In Qatari, Kaduna State, Chimobi Walter Naji, NT News.
The Niger, Kwara, Kogi commands of the Nigeria Customs Service has intercepted 732 bags of foreign rice involving a Dangote truck being smuggled into the country through the borders. Fatima Usman reports that this is part of the command's 16 operations in the first quarter of the year 2019.
732 bags of rice, 11 vehicles, 175 liters of vegetable oil, and bales of fairly used clothes, among others, joined loads of previously seized items and cars in previous years to fill the warehouse beyond its capacity.
Drivers, after delivering their consignments of cement to various destinations, they used to go and get involved conveying of smuggled items.
The controller, Niger Kogi Kwara Command, Yusuf Abba Kasim, further declared 814,755,000 naira as the revenue generated by the command in the first quarter, highest in the last 3 years, notwithstanding the electioneering activities that slowed down business activities.
I would like to send a note of warning to economic saboteurs to steer clear of Niger Kwara Kogi area command and engage in meaningful venture, or else they will meet their Waterloo.
The command reaffirmed its commitment to partnering the media for continued sensitization on its activities towards ridding the country of contrabands. In Mina, Fatima Usman, NTA News.
Now, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukore Buratai, says the Nigerian Army will support the Federal Road Safety Corps in the area of training to enhance the Corps' operation. The Army Chief affirmed this at an audience with Corps Marshal of FRLC in Abuja. Oyeyemi Ajayi has details.
Though their uniforms may be different, so also their responsibilities. But there is still a point of collaboration, though the Corps Marshal acknowledged reduction in road crashes on the highways. He, however, calls for an integrated transporting system to further reduce accidents on Nigerian roads, all for the interest of the country.
We operate penalty point system. When you accumulate up to between 10 to 14 points, you go for 5 hours retraining. When your license is suspended for 3 months, when you accumulate 15 points to 20, you go back to driving school for 1 month. Then when your license, when you accumulate 21 points, it's suspended for 1 year, then you go back to driving school again.
The meeting provides both organizations avenues to discuss possible areas of synergy, especially regarding saving lives on the highways.
We will key into this area, having efficient drivers across the country so that we reduce the rate of accidents on our highways. And I believe we will do a good job in that regard.
In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Foreign Affairs and Diaspora, Abike Dabiri Erewa, has called for compulsory baggage identification system at the Nigerian airport for quick detection of drugs and other dangerous substances. This follows the arrest of another Nigerian Thursday in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Oyeyemi Ajayi again tells us more.
In the midst of the unsettled dust over the execution of a Nigerian widow and mother of two, Kudirat Adeshola Afolabi, accused of drug trafficking in Saudi Arabia, as well as the negotiated high-level diplomatic engagement between the leadership of Nigeria and Saudi Arabia. The story of the arrest of another Nigerian, Wahid Ayinde Shomade, is depressing.
Just in the midst of still appealing and begging and saying, this thing is bad, let's do it. Somebody went and carried 1,138 grams of cocaine to Jeddah.
While appealing to the Kingdom of Jeddah to be fair in their trial, Advocate Dabiri Erewa, however, called on Nigerians abroad to abide by the law of the land they reside.
And crime is crime. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what tribe you come from. So for those tribalizing crime, I think is a sad commentary.
Meanwhile, the Senior Special Assistant of the President received the new Indian High Commissioner to Nigeria with discussions on the need to return stranded Nigerians in India. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
The successful re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari by Nigerians has been described as a testimony of good work and integrity, rekindling hope in the nation's economy. President of the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria Alumni Association, Professor Ahmed Tijani Mora, stated this while on a courtesy visit to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Bose Mustafa, in Abuja. Ahmed Ondas Ahmed was there.
The joining to 2019 presidential poll victory by the ruling party, All Progressive Congress, was as a result of the stellar track records of President Muhammadu Buhari in the areas of security, the anti-corruption fight, and economic recovery. These qualities made Nigerians to renew the mandate to enable him consolidate on his vision for the nation in the next 4 years.
On behalf of the over 800,000 members of the ABU Alumni Association in Nigeria and in the diaspora, let me congratulate the SGF for this victory. As the engine room of the administration,
Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Bose Mustafa, went down memory lane, recalling when ABU Zaria was not just a center of academic excellence, but a mini Nigeria where students from all walks of life coexist and learn in unity.
I had the privilege of being in ABU between 76 and 79. I graduated from Faculty of Law in 1979. At that time, ABU, by all imagination, was a great university. It was a great university. You announced your arrival at any given opportunity with a sense of dignity and pride.
Ahmed Ondas Ahmed, NTA News.
Aviation stakeholders are in Lagos to review regulations. Let's join Jennifer for details and other updates.
Thank you, Kenny. Good evening and a warm welcome to Lagos. The Lagos State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Sam Olumeku, has charged the newly elected House of Assembly members to enact laws that would impact positively in the lives of Lagosians. He stated this during the presentation of Certificate of Return to lawmakers in Lagos. Rotimi Oluwagbemi reports.
The newly elected lawmakers were excited to receive their certificate of returns, which validates their electoral victory. The State INEC Commissioner Sam Olumeku congratulated them for their triumph at the polls, urging them to fulfill the promises they made to the electorate. Reacting to petitions against the commission, Mr. Olumeku said,
"As I speak with you today, about 16 petitions that have been filed with the tribunal. Well, as far as we are concerned, this is part of the democratic process, and we, on our part, are ready to defend all our actions and to be accountable for all our actions during the course of the elections."
The presentation of the certificate of return was the high point of the event.
We are assuring Lagosians that this night assembly will be all about the people. The interests of the people will come first.
We must, as a legislator, start activity right away. We must hit the ground running.
Effective oversight functions to ensure that money are allocated for projects where judiciary is utilized for the purpose it was meant for.
Education, education, education. Because that's the only instrument to bring people from poverty into wealth. And we've been doing it and we'll continue to do it.
In fact, I'm elated seeing people around me. You know, if it is joy, it's for everybody. So a day like this will not cease in any of our homes.
This event is particularly historic as all the 40 lawmakers belong to the All Progressive Congress in Lagos. Rotimi Oluwagbemi, NTA News.
And to the aviation sector, stakeholders in the aviation industry are examining the implication of the proposed review of the Accident Investigation Bureau Regulation of 2016. The aim is to create a mechanism that will ensure the safety of air passengers in Nigeria. Michael Olaleye reports.
Within the space of 2 years, the Accident Investigation Bureau, AIB, has released 39 final accident reports and 154 safety recommendations. This forum seeks to propose more safety mechanisms for achieving secure aviation industry. The Minister of Justice, who was represented, enjoined stakeholders to formalize an amendment that will be at par with international standards while upholding best practices in Nigeria's aviation industry.
The Honorable Attorney General of the Federation assures the Accident Investigation Bureau that his office will render the very best to facilitate the drafting and vetting of these regulations.
Out of 37 safety recommendations issued to the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, the agency said 29 have been fully implemented.
The safety recommendations that the authority had implemented had assisted in improving our processes, led to the development of new and amendment of existing procedures.
The Commissioner of AIB, Akinola Teru, said capacity building and finances are key in reducing cases of air mishaps through prompt release of reports.
When you have an accident, in this industry, everybody becomes an expert. Ours is to state the fact as it is, analyze all data, gathering all that, we analyze it, and then come up with a conclusion.
The amendments, when ratified, will enable stakeholders in the industry strive towards promoting safety in their overall operations. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
This is NTA Network News. More reports ahead after this timeout. Stay tuned.
I thought leaving the country was the best decision for me and my future.
I left for a better life.
We were picked up by immigration officials and sent to a detention camp.
I spent 8 months in the detention camp. There was no food, no water.
I saw people being beaten like animals.
Some women were raped. Some women were sold as slaves.
I thought I would never see my loved ones again.
I have made the biggest mistake of my life.
I have wasted all my savings.
I have to start all over again.
Migration is a human phenomenon which cannot be stopped. But if we choose to migrate, we advocate that it should be done in a safe, orderly, regular, and dignified way, and not in a dangerous and tortuous manner.
This message is brought to you by the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons.
The Cardinal John Onayekon Foundation for Peace is living up to its mandate of enhancing interethnic and inter-religious cooperation in the country. This has again been demonstrated by the graduation of the foundation's Pioneer Peace Fellows in Abuja. Victor Azun reports.
These are peace ambassadors of the Cardinal Onayekon Foundation for Peace, a status they attained upon completion of a one-year program in interreligious dialogue and mediation.
I would like to...
These men and women, 35 of them from different ethnic and religious backgrounds, are volunteers who seek to contribute in building peace and stability across the country.
We felt as religious leaders we have to open up, we have to come forward and contribute and then douse the tension that has been building over a recent period of time.
I entered into this program to enable me also know how to settle some of the conflicts we are having over there in my own town.
As he takes his stand to address the peace ambassadors, chairman of the foundation, John Cardinal Onayekon, gives them a sense of direction for the task ahead.
Don't ask, what can we do? You can do a lot. Don't forget that those who are fomenting problems, confusion, and violence in our nation are very few. They are only well organized.
It remains our priority
to join forces with other actors to strategically increase citizen participation.
The certificate program is organized by the Cardinal Onaikan Foundation for Peace in conjunction with Veritas University, Abuja. Victor Azu, NTA News.
Now let's join Abolade Salami for business news.
Thank you, Kenneth. Good evening and welcome to Business News segment. Nigeria export value chain will be reinvigorated with a sum of 200 billion naira from commercial banks. Financial players at this year's Bankers Committee meeting in Lagos resolved to grant a single-digit loan to exporters who engage in the export of valuable products. Reports by the National Bureau of Statistics show that Nigerians' exports improved significantly in 2018, reaching a 6-year all-time high compared to the value of exports in 2014. In a bid to scale up the non-oil export value chain and improve volume of foreign exchange entry into the country, commercial banks at the 2019 Bankers Committee meeting decided to inject the sum of 200 billion naira into the value chain at a single-digit rate.
Break this down. Which of these commodity areas should we focus on? Oil, palm, as you all know, we used to be number one. We decided to focus on that. Cocoa is another area, sesame seed is another area, and of course shea and cashew. So we are going ahead with this, applying the existing fund that we have identified in Central Bank. We are going to be lending at a single digit.
Members of the committee identified logistics, funding, and policies as being of the growth in the non-oil sector, hence the need for a long-time intervention. Director of Banking Supervision, Central Bank of Nigeria, Ahmed Abdullahi, said the economy recorded positive trend with over $6 billion received from foreign direct investors after the 2019 election.
The positive outlook of the economy, the positive sentiments, and the confidence that the economy has garnered despite the global headwinds in the global economy.
The financial players are optimistic about the economic policies of the government towards the development of the non-oil sector. And now let's talk equities. A bit of investors' confidence seemed to have returned to Nigeria's equities market as the last trading week had a rebound of 0.12% to close the all-share index at 29,616.38 basis points. Here is today's trading.
To stock market reports. The markets at the close of Friday's trading had an uptick of 0.21% to close the all-share index at 29,616.38 basis points. Volume of shares traded stood at 401 million, valued at 3.49 billion naira, which exchanged hands in 3,575 deals, with a market capitalization of 11.12 trillion naira. CCNN, Dangote Flour, and Cadbury posted gains, while GlaxoSmith, FitSyn, and UACN closed in the red. Sectoral indices show that most sectors closed in the green, as NSE Banking, Consumer Goods, and NSE Industrial closed in the green territory, appreciating by 0.33%, 0.17%, and 1.19%, while NSE Insurance and NSE Oil and Gas finished in the red, depreciating by 0.58% and 2.42%. And that's it on stock market reports.
And that's a wrap on Business News segment. Kenneth, it's back to you for the continuation of the news. Good evening.
Thank you, Abolade. The Nigeria Content Development and Monitoring Board is curating an enabling environment for key players in the oil and gas industry to maximize available opportunities without depending solely on foreign expertise and equipment abroad. This assurance is coming from the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, Simbi Wabote, at the 2019 edition of the Nigerian Oil and Gas Opportunities Forum held in Yenagua, Bayelsa State.
Top local and international players in the oil and gas industry converged in Yenagua, Bayelsa State. For the Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Ibe Kachuku, and of course the chief host of the event, Executive Secretary of the Nigeria Content Development and Monitoring Board, Simbi Wambute, it was an opportunity to market the nation's rich oil and gas sector as they give blow-by-blow account of the enormous potentials in the sector and encouraged indigenous companies to invest.
We talked about Ikike, we talked about NLNG. Today, they are going through the funnel, and as you can see, within the next couple of weeks, they will take FID on Ikike, on EBOT, and before the end of the year, we'll take FID on NLNG. So this is focused follow-through on those opportunities. So this event is every 2 years, such that we then roll on other opportunities and add new ones to them.
Obviously pleased with the giant strides made by the Nigeria Content Development and Monitoring Board in repositioning the sector for global competitiveness, Ibe Kachuku employs government agencies to key into the 10-year strategic plan of the Nigeria Content Development and Monitoring Board to boost local participation.
Look at the gas policy that was passed by the Federal Executive Council. This has been addressed. It is now for us to just put energy around executing it and get NMPs to also release that near monopoly. If you have all the right of ways and you're holding it to yourself, the private sector is not going to go in. We need to get the private sector to go in, build necessary infrastructure, tool it. They will make money, the government will make money, the private sector will grow.
It was a gathering of outpouring of encomium from participants at the two-day event for the present management of the Nigeria Content Development and Monitoring Board, as the achievements in the sector are now visibly felt, and the local employment chart in the oil and gas industry in Nigeria is now moving upwards. Mie Ogede, NTA News.
The federal government is processing promissory notes for the settlement of outstanding export expansion grant. Kolo Mohammed reports that it is part of the efforts to diversify the economy.
It is an established fact that the Buhari administration is earning less compared to a few years ago. The Nigerian Export Promotion Council, however, says the government is doing more in terms of infrastructure and economy, and that explains the issuance of promissory notes to 270 companies valued at over 195 billion naira, and that of the 39 remaining companies also being approved.
You know, the federal government has approved 350 billion naira of promissory notes to settle the export expansion debts, and it's now part of our national debt, and that has been done.
But after FEC approved, we couldn't just go ahead and issue promissory notes and start settling this debt, because the law of the country requires approval by the Parliament, National Assembly, before government can incur debt. So the President in 2017, after approving, forwarded what FEC approved to National Assembly for its approval, so that we could have a legal basis for issuing the notes to recognize the debt in our books.
It was an opportunity for stakeholders to ask questions, offer suggestions on how to check procedural bottlenecks. The Debt Management Office and the Federal Ministry of Finance was ready with responses. In Abuja, Kolo Muhammad, NTA News.
Let's join Mina Okobasi for all the latest from Port Harcourt.
Thank you, Kene. Good evening and welcome to Port Harcourt. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has nabbed a notorious oil bunkerer who has been on the watch in Rivers State. The suspect, Amobi Allen, was arrested alongside 14 others with a badge containing suspected petroleum products. Robinson Dorothy has the details.
Amobi Allen has been on the watch list of the NNCDC for serial vandalization and sabotage of, as well as threats to the lives of oil workers within the Ingbidi location Axis at Ogba Egbima Ndoni Council area of River State. Other suspects were arrested at different locations within the state with unquantifiable volumes of petroleum product stored in a barge and 5 trucks. Commandant of NNCDC, Mohammed Aruna, represented by the head of Anti-vandals unit, Mustafa Sani, reiterates the command's commitment to flush out illegal bunkers from the state.
Among the 15 suspects arrested, 2 well heads. One Mr. Awobi Allen is a vandals, known for vandalism, Nigerian Ajib oil head. He was arrested within 24 hours of an order issued by the state commander following the threat letter sent to the Corps.
The suspects will be arraigned in court for prosecution. In Port Harcourt, Robinson, there are NTA News.
The Tobia Bridge linking the Niger Delta University, Amasoma in Bayelsa State and other communities to the state capital Yenagoa is now faced with erosion threat. The condition of the bridge is an emergency that requires urgent intervention. Aya Prezi reports.
The bridge serves as access to the university town of Amasoma and other communities in the island. Concerned by the growing erosion threat on the bridge, management of the Niger Delta University Amasoma drew the attention of the State Minister of Environment to the condition of the bridge, as earlier call on FEMA did not yield the desired.
Apart from the dredging activity, the passage of vehicles at this point also triggered off this erosion. And the rains are coming, and if we don't do something very quickly, it will become very disastrous.
Bayelsa State Commissioner of Environment, Mr. Bipate Apangolo, ordered illegal dredging activities around the bridge to stop.
It's an imminent danger, and we are going to immediately call the Ministry of Works to swing into action immediately.
At a brief visit to the NDU by the Commissioner and his entourage, the Deputy VC Academics, Professor Arlene Agee, who represented the VC, was appreciative and expressed hope that the assurances given by the Environment Ministry will be. From Niger Delta Investor Masoma, Aya Prezi, NT News.
And that's a bit from Port Harcourt. It's back to you, Kene, for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Mina. Ogun State Governor Ibikunle Amosun has inaugurated the Governing Council of the Ogun State Polytechnic with a challenge to the council to maintain the enviable standard of the state in all fields of endeavors. Lekwa Bunde reports.
The 12-member Governing Council are to take up the task of pioneering the relocated institution without lifting its leg on the pedal of academic excellence. Governor Ibikula Amosun urged the chairman and members of the council to take up the huge challenge that pioneering an institution entails.
One thing is even very unique in this assignment because you are now pioneering. They have a place where they can expand and explore all of those wonderful opportunities that lies within that maybe virgin green area.
Chairman of the council, Ambassador Isiaka Boluni, and the rector, Dr. Samson Odedino, both promised to walk the path of success and excellence. Governor Amosun later embarked on an inspection of the new judiciary complex under construction, expressing satisfaction with the level of completion ahead of the planned commissioning by the president in May.
We are still running around to make sure that it's ready. We are now doing the external works. The landscaping is going on. The inside, you see that almost 1,000 people working here.
The foundation of the complex was laid in February 2016 by President Muhammadu Buhari. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
Medical issues are dominating the headlines in Maiduguri. Mohammed Ibrahim has updates from that zone.
Thank you, Kene, and welcome to Maiduguri. Towards addressing growing cases of mental disorder across the country, Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, serving the whole of Northeast and even neighboring countries, has upgraded its facilities with an assessment unit. Abakar Mohamed Musa reports.
The assessment unit, which consists of 11 sections, is expected to serve as an emergency center, especially to persons suffering from acute mental disorder. Inaugurating the assessment unit, Chairman, Board of Management of Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Senator Mohammed Sani Saleh, said construction of health facilities and upgrading existing ones are indispensable for accelerated transformation of the institution, being the only psychiatric hospital in the Northeast region.
We are happy to be associated with this achievement, and having gone around now and seen the high quality of work, which I believe will endure the wear and tear of the peculiarities of the patients that we expect to be coming here.
Medical Director, Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Maiduguri, Dr. Ibrahim Abdul Wakawa, described the development as a boost to the hospital and the health sector in general, which she explained will increase the level of productivity of personnel.
This opportunity to thank the federal government and our parent ministry, and of course the two ministers, the Honorable Minister of Health and the Honorable Ministers of State of Health, for giving us the enabling environment to achieve this feat.
In Maiduguri, Abubakar Mohammed Musa, NTA News.
And more on health, studies have shown that in the last 4 years, about 41% of patients who visited the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital were attested to have chronic kidney disease. This growing phenomenon has become a source of concern for medical doctors, as 2 in every 10 patients are diagnosed with the ailment, hence the need for a roundtable discussion on this development. Amina Fide Ahmadu reports.
10% of the population worldwide is affected by chronic kidney disease and die each year because they do not have access to affordable treatment. Chief Consultant Physician Nephrologist Dr. William Widiri, in a PowerPoint presentation, highlighted that from 2014 to 2018, 5,733 patients there were on admission at the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital. 2,363 were diagnosed with kidney disease, making it 41% in 5 years.
If you have a family history of kidney disease or hypertension or diabetes, you are at risk of developing kidney. So it would be good to come to the hospital regularly for follow-up. If you wake up more than 3 times to pass urine, knowing fully well that you have not taken anything that will make you pass urine. If you are passing urine and you notice some foaming, you have to come to the hospital. Another very early sign is facial puffiness. But what you can consider as environmental factors are things like buying medicine that is not prescribed for you, buying traditional concoctions that you don't know their composition. But people generally should avoid buying painkillers.
Chief Medical Director, University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital, Professor Ahmed Ahijo, says the institution is set up to manage such cases and are sure to equip the unit, even though it's capital intensive. Other consultants call for synergy of the various units of the institution to tackle the menace of CKD in the society. In Maiduguri, Amina Fide Amadou, NTA News.
And that is all from Maiduguri. It's back to Kene in Abuja.
Thank you, Mohammed. Well, we'll take another break now. Do stay tuned for more news. Nigeria Bowling Federation is set for upcoming events in the globe as Wrestling Federation seeks more support for athletes. Tamara Ebiwe brings us more on Sports Update.